How to increase productivity while working from home. This is a part of our time management series. The 3 time-saving and stress-reducing tips. The first tip is the Baby Wise book tip. The second tip is the spouse sync tip. And the third tip is the time Owie tip. Welcome, souls, to I Love Shiny Objects. Note, the time Owie tip is one of my most valuable tips for saving time, increasing your productivity, and reducing your stress while working from home. The first tip is the Baby Wise book tip. Replace baby with whatever you got, kids, teenagers, or even yourself, as you'll understand as I explain this tip. The book is all about future thinking. It's about creating healthy, sustainable patterns and routines that will help serve you and the entire family at large. Application. For example, what things could you combine to do at the same time to save time? Or what things could you delegate to other family members? Being considerate of each family member's strengths, weaknesses, their thinking wavelength. You can get that at iloveshanyobjects.com/thinking, what drives them, and how can you build in healthy patterns and routines so that everyone keeps doing these things in the family day after day, which saves y'all all time, reduces everyone's stress, and boosts all of y'all's productivity. Another way you can implement this tip is through Stephen Covey's old saying, sharpening the saw. So what routines and the habits could you do in the morning to sharpen your saw so that you're more productive and focused and save more time later in your day? Step back and just write everything down that you typically do in a day. Or you could make this a little bigger and extend this to everything your family has to do in the day. Souls or people with ADHD are good at this next step. It's connecting the dots. So now that you got everything written down, think, what order should you do all these things? Or what order should other family members do things to save them time and boost their productivity? And always be thinking, is there a way you or they can do things faster? Brainstorm different ways. Make it a family activity with just your spouse or your kids. Use your own discretion and take this information into the next tip. The second tip, the spouse sync tip. So the spouse sync tip is just like it sounds, syncing with your spouse so that basically y'all can better help and serve each other in love. Communicate your daily needs. When each of y'all are naturally more focused, and if that changes throughout the day, your feelings, your moods, if you need extra help in a certain area, communicate all these different aspects to each other throughout the day so that you can better help and serve each other again in love. Look over your answers and from the questions from the first tip, the Baby Wise book tip, so that y'all can better help each other out. This will also reduce the stress between y'all, the family at large, and increase productivity overall. The practical example that combines the first tip with this tip is over breakfast each morning, you're gonna create this habit or the routine that you always talk about each other's schedule for that day. Any unique things you need from that other person during very specific times throughout the day. Maybe you have a meeting towards the end of the day, for example, or maybe you have an important project that you have to get due, so you need the other spouse to watch the kids a little longer. There's many different examples, but I think you get the point. And the third tip, the time Owie tip. So it's all about finding Owies in your time. From doing the first 2 tips, you have probably already found some of these. Now you want to save time and reduce stress by focusing your learning on the best way to remedy those very specific time Owies. This tip, finding time Owies, can be applied to every facet of your work. Going into the bonus tip a little bit, it will allow you to quickly filter internet searches, emails, Word documents, by using the search feature to quickly find things, so that you only learn the things that are directly related to your biggest time owies. This will save you a lot of time, stress, because you won't have as many owies, as well as boosting your productivity. And you can reduce or eliminate those pain in the butts you have in work, or you could even apply this to other aspects of your life. Kicking this up a notch, before you research or learn anything new, put your purpose, goal, your reason, which is probably going to be in this case your time owie, wherever you write your notes. So put it at the very top of the page of your notes if you do it by hand or on something like OneNote or Evernote, and then put all your other notes for learning under that. So you're constantly re-looking at the reason, the purpose, the focus that you're learning. So you're going to be filtering, and your brain's going to be looking out for the things that will help you with that owie. Credit for this tip goes to the new book called Limitless. On a side note, don't learn anything just for the sake of learning it or because you're really interested in it, because ain't nobody got time for that. So the bonus tip, the fourth tip, is the thinking guideline technique. So this is a bigger idea that encompasses a very common time management tip from a very wealthy, popular individual. See if you can guess who it is before I mention him. So this technique is all about thinking guidelines for common things for you that come up that will just streamline your thinking and save you time and keep you focused on whatever you're doing. So examples of this: whenever you see an email pop-up notification, you will only look at it, even consider clicking on it, if it aligns with one of your time owies from the third tip or whatever you are currently working on. Everything else can be handled later. Did you guess who it was yet? Or what it was? His thinking guideline was to always have no as his default response. He has been quoted saying, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." Warren Buffett. So to summarize the fourth tip, the first tip was the Baby Wise book tip. The second tip was the spouse sync tip, and the third tip was the time owie tip, and the fourth bonus tip was the thinking guidelines technique. If you have any questions about these four tips, please post them below. If you like this video, then you'll probably like the previous video about big rocks on the screen now, or the next video, which is how to help gung-ho, savage ADHDers or souls with time management. And as always, remember to subscribe and hit the bell to tank your time management. But more importantly, and kidding aside, to join a community of other souls.